partly by getting things in place. Sometimes the gray box is a perfect example on a much wider scale.
Clearing that up. So the spell effects in Pantheon are beautiful, but are there plans on making enemy reactions?
Sometimes the gray box is a perfect example on a much wider scale. You get that in place, it doesn't look great, but it functions, it serves multiple roles, and then you continue to iterate on that going forward. And whatever else you'd want to add to that, Adam?
Yeah, I just want to specifically speak to the idea of like a reaction to a spell effect, because that is, fairly specific. When we talk about animations, of course, there's an animation budget that we have to be aware of. And with the incredible amount and variety of spells that can exist, having a unique reaction in addition to the unique effect that's coming out can definitely become an exponential problem. So I just, even though CP is saying we're definitely continuing to clean up and look at opportunities for cleanup and improvement on all of our visual fronts. When it comes to like specific reactions to spells, that's probably going to come in the form of more specific and unique impact effects than it will unique animations.
Yeah, that's fair enough, man.
We can kill the later bird question about physical impact animation response, and I think the question is something like when you have an NPC that's being pounded on by 100 players and they're just in this infinite gyration mode of playing their herd animation. We have the complete repertoire of knobs and buttons and constraints and limiters and thresholds and cooldowns and lockouts to make sure that animations like that aren't being overplayed, and that again it fits in that same category of things that are part of the ongoing polish that we build into the game, so you can expect that to improve.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of I've seen a lot of comments across social media and stuff like that for people that don't understand development, especially when it comes to graphics and animations, saying that, depending on, they think how long a game has been in development for means that the time we started until the time we released, our animations and graphics are going to be locked at that start time and then be outdated by the time we released. And that's just not true. Like, we're developing in real time and we can update and change graphics and play around with things like that as we go to make it look
sound kind of defensive on that response.
When we do release the game.
It's
not a good answer.
Worth reiterating, especially for our VIPs who are in the game and are seeing this, that very often what you see is placeholder, right? It's meant to convey an idea of something. It's meant to give us
And, it's fine for them to talk about and say that the artwork in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is placeholders, but and even to the guy's point before this, where he says, "Oh, well, just because we've been in development for 5 years doesn't mean that what you're seeing is what you're gonna get." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you've been in development for 5 effing years." It's like, at some point, you have to stop using that as an excuse. I understand you have a small team and all that. And, what I would do if I was Pantheon, to really alleviate those types of concerns, is just create some higher level of detail, character models, some higher level detail of spell animations on a very small scales. Maybe even focus on just doing it for one specific race and say this race, in this race, we're going to work on better character models and better animations, and just to give people an example of what we would like to do for all the classes. But you have that caveat of saying, well, it may not be all out day one, but this is where it is going to go eventually, because you just want to give people confidence that you are going to do that, because a lot of people I think, are going to be a little bit put off by the current state of the animations and the stagger animations of the enemy. But again, I'm just saying, and I'm not saying they're good or bad. I'm just saying that you need to set expectations. And if you sit here and you're hemming and hawing and saying, well, it's because we've been working on it for 5 years, this isn't necessarily what you're seeing now isn't necessarily going to be what it looks like. Or you say that, like what he was saying just a second ago, just rewind it a little bit.
It's not true. Like, we're developing in real time and we can update and change graphics and play around with things like that as we go to make it look nice and fancy when we do release the game.
it's worth reiterating, especially for our VIPs who are in the game and are seeing this, that very often what you see is placeholder, right? It's meant to convey an idea of something. It's meant to give us a visual reference, but should definitely not be viewed as final. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't want feedback, right? If something is looking weird and wonky and not resonating, absolutely.
And that's certainly true. I mean, the VIPs are people that have pledged over I think $1,000 to the game, and they have the earliest form of. They have even pre-alpha access. I'm not a VIP. I haven't pledged over $1,000. I think I'm at $500 pledged, which is the most I've ever pledged for any game. So just let so that's a lot for me, to pledge that much money on a game. But that's how much I hope. I don't want to say I believe that Pantheon's going to be a great game. I hope that Pantheon is going to be a great game. But I do believe that the people that are working on the game have more, are more aligned with the kind of goals that I would like to see in an MMO. That's why I've, put my eggs in one basket, so to speak, and kind of tossed a little bit more money into the game than I normally would in an early access, as a pledge.
Continue to tell us about it, but if there's a fear that something is final, I don't think we're close to that point just yet.
I'd like to know when they are getting close.
So
to the
how
final
specifically will damage be
versions.
calculated? This has come up a little bit too. A lot of people into the finer high-end rating stuff and how damage is kind of calculated. They want to try to figure this out. So not sure how much information we can give, but they go on to say in Dungeons and Dragons it is clear cut, the die.
Yeah, it's
but
very
in most
clear.
MMOs there seems to be some type of algorithm or timetable running in the background that does the calculation. Will Pantheon be the innovator in providing us with the precise method it will use to calculate damage dealt in combat and heals once an attack has been made or as a heal has been selected?
So, okay, this is a fantastic question, and there are several here that start getting into the nitty-gritty details of the numbers and the different, number-related aspects of combat. And I've been torn because obviously these are things, and anything along those lines is information that the community really wants to hear. But I'm torn because this is in preparing for the roundtable. This is Tyler. This is Sacred's wheelhouse, and he's worked very, very hard on dialing all these things in. So I'm going to say that anything that is kind of keyed towards a question that Tyler would have been prepping to answer, I'd like to save those and give him the opportunity through a follow-up thread or coming into the the Discord to really speak to those himself.
Absolutely. I spoke to Tyler before too, and he was really sorry he couldn't be here, but he did say that when I post the developer recording, when that goes up later on, he will jump in and answer any questions that are related to stuff like that. So that's a perfect question. If you guys want to re-ask that, he will, when he's feeling a little bit better, he'll jump in and have a look over and get those for you. Okay, so moving right along, how competent should we expect to see summoner pets in combat? Is it reasonable to expect to see a well-geared summoner tank pet capable enough to tank normal group content relative to the group's level? We've seen Rogue in its flex rolls CC upwards of 4 mobs at once at a cost of its active DPS. So I'm wondering how capable other classes can expect to perform in their flex rolls. Big question.
It's a good question, and it keys off of what we've seen of the rogue so far, which is
He's laughing because everybody wants to get into super detailed questions. They want to really, basically, people are trying to min max the hell out of the game before it's even out. So I think he's laughing in two ways. One, that he's laughing that people are just so ridiculously hardcore and they want to min max the shit out of stuff. So he's probably like, God, Jesus, that the game's not even out yet and they're trying to min max the hell out of it. But I also think he's laughing because he knows it's a good question. Good question.
It's definitely been a bit of an exaggerated example of flex.
The rogue.
So it would not be the best comparison or the best line to draw to say, well, if the rogue's capable of this, then my goodness, what can we expect to see, summoner pets do or whatever. So I want to make that statement first.
I mean, it sounds like they need
to continue with
nerf
the tank line of
rogues.
thinking in the question.
Sounds like.
I would not expect a summoner's Titan to perform as well as an equally leveled, equally geared tank. The Titan, the summoner will be able to flex the Titan into that role for a short time. Of course, again, the nature of the flex being that it would come at a sacrifice of their DPS, and certainly even the choice of having the Titan out and focusing the Titan would be a loss of DPS as well. But it will definitely be formidable. And the point with the whole concept of flexing as a class into another role for a short period is that they would be able to be formidable and effective at that pinch tanking role for a short period of time. So you can expect summoners that, and again, remember the design behind the summoner pets is that they would be a genuine extension of the character's development themselves. And just like you spend time developing your character, you will need to spend time developing the different summoner pets to make them as formidable and effective as they can be. So if you've spent all of your time focusing on the Titan, but you've neglected the Undyne or you've neglected the Zephyr, then they're not going to just be summoned at this baseline level of power. So if you're really interested in having a Titan that is able to be a formidable contributor to that tanking role, then that's going to require you really taking time to develop that.
That's an excellent. That's just great that they're doing it that way. In fact, it's just really encouraging that they're basically taking kind of almost like almost like a Skyrim type of approach. Where basically just meaning like, if you spend a bunch of time shooting the bow, well, guess what? You're going to be better at shooting the bow. So they're saying the same thing with your pets that you summon. If you summon a certain pet and you use that pet as an off tank a lot, well, it sounds like that pet will get better. So the pets must have some sort of inherent leveling system built into them, so that as you're leveling them, as you're using them, they start to level, get stronger. Same thing, like, it always reminds me of like Lineage 2 when you're raising a dragon pet. The more you, how far down this goes. That's pretty far. I kind of screwed myself here a little bit. That's okay. Well, let's take a look. I can always bubble if I have to. I don't think I have to bubble for that. No. Anyways, like in Lineage 2, you have a dragon pet, and when you have the pet out and fighting with you, or at least out while you're doing combat, he grows, he gets stronger. But if he's not out, when you're fighting and doing things, he doesn't get any stronger. So that's really cool. I mean, I hope that they make it pretty involved, and I hope they make it pretty advanced. That would make summoner classes incredibly more interesting.
Extension of your character out.
Yeah, good explanation, mate. Look, I might jump the next two questions because they were for Tyler and go down to, does VR make any kind of distinction between players trivializing content and killing trivial content in Pantheon? If so, are there any differences in how you plan to restrict or reward either behavior?
Yeah, Adam and I both have some notes we want to say to this, and I'll start just by saying that I actually saw some good chatter on this after the last stream that we did, where I know in that stream I was emphasizing
You can kiss your
what
ass
we're
goodbye.
aiming to be a very high degree of freedom that players have to come up upon a challenge, or just a very wild or unexpected layout of terrain, or the approach to a dungeon or whatever it may be, and really have a wealth of options available to them based on how they have developed themselves as a character, what class they are, first of all. Do they have friends with them? Are there other players nearby that can lend a hand in different ways through their abilities as a class? What itemization have they acquired? And all of it really, we want to create, again, that unprecedented degree of freedom, of creative.
And what we're listening to in the background, guys, is the Pantheon Rise of the Fallen VIP Developer Roundtable. So they're just going through some different questions regarding the MMO Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. It's definitely a game that I'm starting to pay more attention to. I do think that we're going to see Pantheon come out, the alpha come out this year. I don't really know exactly when, but yeah. Well, Ripoff, I played the Warrior a little bit earlier today, just for a few minutes, just burning off some rest time, and she still is not fully rested, the Warrior. And so, yeah, I figured I'd level the Paladin. I know that at max level, I will enjoy the Paladin a lot more than I'll enjoy the Warrior. So that's why I'm on the Paladin right now, because I want to get the Paladin up there. You know what I mean? I want to get the Paladin leveled up. So that's why I'm here. The cool river here.
Lovely.
Any more food, though? Yeah. Nope, not an elite quest. Actually, I'm just grinding mobs right now. Just grinding mobs. That's all I'm doing right now.
You can kiss your ass goodbye.
I don't know. I mean, the whole Stormforge thing is like... It depends on what's the leveling. Hey, Ripoff, what's the leveling in, multiplier? Is it like 1x or is it 2x? What's the website for that? Well, the Tory's 1x. I mean, is it going to be another 1x? I wonder. Man, there's only 15 people in here. Is it 996? There aren't that many people. 2x/1x. It says, oh, it's 3x? Yeah, I think 3x is a good idea. I don't think people want to level 1x anymore.
A forgotten land, shrouded by mist. Its people in
So it starts tomorrow, ripoff?
perfect harmony with nature. What mysteries does it hold? Hidden treasures, mysterious legends, and an ancient evil. Your journey begins here. A forgotten land, shrouded by mist. Its people in perfect harmony with nature. What mysteries does it hold?
Hold on 1 second.
Hidden treasures, mysterious legends, and an ancient evil. Your journey begins here.
Okay, let's see what it says. So dungeons. Raids, arenas, usual stuff. Timeless Isle, of course. Updated classic dungeons. Brawler's Guild. But it doesn't say, like... at battles. Doesn't say what kind of like 1x it is, but Stormforged. Okay, so... here we go. All right, we're going to log in, hopefully. We'll see. It may not let me log in. They sent me an email, but verified yet. Yeah. So I haven't gotten the email yet from them. Let's take a look. News, how to connect Mistblade. Okay, so this is realm type PvP. Oh, yeah, here it is. XP rates ×3. It is a PvP server. It is Mr. Pandaria. Okay. Yeah, I think tomorrow at 6 p.m. I'm sure it's free. Yeah, I'm sure it's free, Sam. It's a private server, so it's got to be free, right? I mean, I probably already have. It says requires version 5.4 of the game client. I already have Tory Launcher. If it's the same version, is it going to be the same? Is it going to? I'm a little confused though. Is it a completely different? It's not. You said it was made by the same people, but it doesn't seem like it is. Let's download the client. Let's take a look. Oh, it's downloading 22 gig. Was it 22 gig? All right, so it's going to take a while to download. So we'll let that go. That's fine. Yeah, 22 gig. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's 3x, I think, makes it a little bit more appealing. I certainly don't want to get into another long leveling experience because obviously I've been doing a lot of leveling lately. I'm just waiting to see if I get the confirmation email, which I haven't gotten yet. So I have not got it yet. You gotta love these private servers. I'm always like amazed. So I sent. Thanks. I sent Phil an email at Wings of Pegasus. I was showing him a. You guys probably don't know who that is. Anyways, yeah, I'm waiting for the email confirmation. So until I can't get into the game until I get that confirmation email. So I haven't gotten it yet. So it says here, your account has been registered to validate. We've sent you a confirmation link. Wow, I haven't gotten it yet. So. But yeah, I mean, I might try it out. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting bored of playing. Kind of getting bored of playing Season of Mastery. Oh shit. A little bit.
Lovely. Lovely.
Decision making, or what could be called emergent gameplay in a sense. But the line would be drawn where players break the rules of the game to benefit themselves. So there's a difference between staying within the rules of the game and utilizing the wealth of options that you have to creatively engage a problem versus breaking the intended rules of the game in order to benefit yourself in an unintended way. And so that's a line that we will take very seriously. And through alpha, beta, and on into launch, will be of course identifying things that would be exploitative to the game's rules and the game mechanics and shoring those up. But we're very careful to draw a clear line and to preserve and protect that degree of player sovereignty that we want to achieve.
Yeah, that's great. It's like we're giving you freedom, don't abuse it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very much about kind of our permission that we lend to players, right? So, you know, when we're talking about that difference between trivializing content and killing trivial content, killing trivial content to me is operating within those constraints, right? It's I've over-leveled on something and it's now trivial to me. I've, you know, learned, you know, this very effective tactic that maybe the developers didn't account for, and, you know, falls into that realm of freedom and emergent gameplay that, you know, Joppa's referring to. Whereas trivializing content to me is, you know, that more exploitative, operating outside of the bounds of the rules. But that also becomes, you know, an inflection point for us as developers to say,
Yeah, Pantheon. I hope that they that we get to that I get to show you guys. I guess to get in the alpha. I hope that they lift the NDA at that point. That when the alpha comes out, but I don't know if they will or not. But once the alpha comes out, I'll be playing a lot of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. But like I said, I don't really know how the NDA is going to work yet.
Lovely. Lovely.
Just blowing through mana entirely too fast here, guys. You know, we really need to get more mana.
Lovely. Lovely. You can kiss your ass goodbye. You can kiss your ass goodbye. Lovely.
This guy's got to be running out of mana. You'll have to be running out of mana. What, I had a debuff on me? What?
Lovely.
What brings you here? May the stars guide you. Del Nadris, I am honored. Good luck, friend. Peace be with you. Go in peace.
You can kiss your ass goodbye. You were screwed. You can kiss your ass goodbye.
I am honored. Hello.
Lovely. You can kiss your ass goodbye. Lovely.
You know, is this something that we are okay with? Is this something that, you know, we feel is disruptive to the experience that we want for the game? And so the onus, you know, ultimately falls on us to mitigate player ability to trivialize content.
Okay, so from a philosophical perspective, how important is the LAS as it relates to the art of combat, specifically when it comes to strategy, tactics, execution, class identity, teamwork, etc.?
I've done an entire interview on this topic with Basgram, so
Yes.
I am going to let Adam add their thoughts to that mix.
And just to clarify, LAS, for those who don't know, is limited action set. So it's basically picking the abilities you want to take with you for that particular, you know, encounter.
Well, and just to clarify that a little bit more, that's a great explanation, Kilson, but just to come at it from another angle to minimize any potential confusion. The idea is that you have a combat bar, you have 2 combat bars that you are able to choose what abilities you have loaded and able to be used in combat at any given time. It's not, you know, we'll have more specific details soon on kind of what are the nuances of when you can change those out, and, you know, are there any times where you're limited from changing those out and whatnot. But it boils down to the idea that you have to select a subset of your overall arsenal of abilities to have available and ready to use at any given time.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
I buy and trade.
Yeah, so I'm going to really lean into the philosophical perspective that is being asked for in this question. And I'm going to lean a little bit on my role-playing background for this one. So as a role player, and especially as a DM, there's nothing that kind of gets under my skin more than when you're interacting with someone who always has the immediate answer to every problem that you introduce. You know, stories at their core are built on conflict, and if you're
All right, guys, I'm logging off. Yeah, I'm gonna go do something else. I'm gonna go, I don't know, play my guitar or something. I'm not really into leveling World of War. I'm not really into playing World of Warcraft today. I'm kind of burned out on WoW. This happens to me all the time when I play WoW a lot, and I really just wish we had a new MMO to play. You know, rehashing, doing things I've done 1,000 times. World of Warcraft just gets tiring after a while. You know, I'm looking forward to Pantheon and some other MMOs. I mean, mostly Pantheon. I think Pantheon has the greatest chance to be a good MMO, but fortunately, we aren't going to see Pantheon. Probably, we should see Alpha this year sometime. But release of that game is a good it might be a couple years, I mean, before we see the release, but it could be faster than that. I mean, maybe it'll be a year and a half, but I don't know. I still think it's going to be further out. But I'll talk to you guys later, man. Have a good night, everybody. Peace out.